Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Speak English Together. I'm Katie, and I'm really happy you're here with us today. Today, we're talking about something a lot of people deal with every week, sometimes every day, and sometimes not at all. We're talking about going to the gym, working out, skipping workouts, feeling sore, and everything in between.
And I'm Tyler. Hi, friends. This is such a real topic because, let's be honest, gym life is not always perfect. Some days you feel strong and motivated, you go in, you finish your workout, and everything feels great. And then other days you're like, yeah, not today. So we're going to talk about real gym conversations, the kind people actually have.
Exactly. Not textbook fitness English, real life English. The kind people use before a workout, during a workout, and after a workout. So, Tyler, let me ask you something simple. Do you go to the gym regularly?
All right, honest answer. I try to stay consistent, but it really depends on the week. Some weeks I go 3 or 4 times, I feel on track, I feel good, and everything is working. Then suddenly I have a busy week, or I feel tired, and I skip. I tell myself I'll go later, and then later never happens.
That's very real. I think almost everyone goes through that cycle. For me, I have phases. Sometimes I'm super consistent. I wake up early, I go to the gym, I finish my workout, and I feel really proud of myself. And then there are days where I just stay home and say, I'll start tomorrow. And somehow tomorrow keeps moving.
Yes, I'll start tomorrow is probably the most common gym sentence ever. Everyone says it at some point, and it sounds very convincing in the moment.
Let's talk about that word you used earlier. I skipped. That's very common in everyday English. You can say, I skipped the gym today, or I skipped my workout.
Exactly. And it doesn't always mean you're lazy. Sometimes you're just tired. Sometimes your schedule is full, or sometimes your body just needs rest. That's a normal part of staying active.
That's an important point. Rest is part of the process, too. Now, let's talk about what happens when you actually go to the gym and push yourself a little more than usual.
I already know what you're about to say. The next day, you wake up and your body's like, what just happened?
Exactly. That feeling is called being sore. You can say, I'm sore today, or my arms are sore, or my legs are sore.
Yes, and after a tough workout, especially leg day, everything feels different. Walking feels slower, sitting down feels harder, and standing up feels like a full workout by itself.
People talk about this all the time in casual conversation. You'll hear things like, I can barely walk today, or my whole body hurts.
And sometimes people say it in a funny way, like, I regret yesterday's workout. But at the same time, they kind of enjoy that feeling because it means they actually did something.
That's true. It's a mix of discomfort and satisfaction. You feel sore, but you also feel like you made progress.
Exactly. And that's what keeps people going back, even when it's hard. That feeling of doing something good for yourself.
Now, let's talk about another very common gym phrase. People often say, I'm tired, or I'm exhausted after the gym.
Yes, after a solid workout, your body feels tired, but your mind can feel really clear. It's like you used all your physical energy, but mentally you feel refreshed.
That's a great way to explain it. And people often say, that was a good workout, which means it was challenging, but worth it.
Or they say, that workout was intense, meaning it required a lot of effort and focus.
Now let's talk about motivation, because this is where most people struggle.
Definitely. Starting is the hardest part. Once you're at the gym, it's easier to continue, but getting yourself there is the real challenge.
People often say, I didn't feel like going, but I went anyway. And that sentence says a lot.
It really does, because discipline is not always feeling motivated. It's about showing up even when you don't feel like it.
At the same time, it's also okay to say, I needed a break, or I took a day off.
Yes, that sounds balanced and realistic. It shows you're listening to your body instead of forcing yourself every single day.
Now, let's talk about how people speak before going to the gym. You might say, I'm heading to the gym, or I'm about to work out.
And after the gym, you might say, I just finished my workout, or I'm done for today.
These are simple sentences, but they come up in real conversations all the time.
Another very common phrase is, I need to get back into it, especially after taking a break from working out.
Yes, that means you stopped for a while and now you want to start again.
We've all experienced that. You take a few days off, then it becomes a week, then 2 weeks, and suddenly you realize you haven't been to the gym in a long time.
Exactly, and that moment is very common, which is why this topic feels so relatable.
Next, we're going to talk about what actually happens inside the gym, different workouts, routines, and how people talk about their training.
We'll also talk about conversations like, what did you train today? And I'm working on legs today, which you'll hear a lot.
That's where the conversation becomes even more practical and useful.
All right, let's continue. Now that we've talked about starting, skipping, and feeling sore, let's move into what actually happens inside the gym. This is where a lot of real conversations happen, especially between friends or people who work out regularly.
Yeah, this is where gym English becomes very specific but still simple. People don't use complicated words. They keep it short and direct. One of the most common questions you'll hear is, what did you train today?
Exactly. That question comes up all the time. It basically means, what part of your body did you work on? You can answer in a very simple way. For example, I did legs today, or I worked on chest, or I trained shoulders.
And sometimes people just say leg day or arm day, which sounds even more casual and natural.
Yes, leg day is very common, and people often react to it because leg workouts are known to be tough. Someone might say, leg day? That's rough. Or, I can't walk after leg day.
That's so true. Leg day has a reputation. Now, another common question is, how was your workout?
And the answers are usually short and expressive. You might hear, it was good, or it was tough, or it was intense.
If it was really hard, people might say, that workout destroyed me, which doesn't mean something bad actually happened. It just means it was very challenging.
Yes, that's a great example of natural gym slang. Another one is, I'm dead, which just means you're extremely tired after a workout.
Now let's talk about routines, because everyone has their own style. Some people follow a strict plan, and some people just go and do whatever they feel like.
You can say, I follow a routine, which means you have a plan, or I just go with the flow, which means you decide in the moment.
I'm definitely more of the go-with-the-flow person. I go in, see how I feel, and choose exercises based on my energy that day.
I like having a plan, but I don't follow it perfectly. Sometimes I adjust depending on how I feel, and that's another common sentence. I changed my workout today.
Yes, flexibility is important. Now let's talk about something people mention a lot in the gym, energy levels.
People often say, I have no energy today, or I'm low on energy.
And on good days, you might hear, I feel strong today, or I have a lot of energy.
That can really change your workout experience. Some days, everything feels easy, and other days, even simple exercises feel heavy.
Speaking of heavy, let's talk about weights. People often say, I went heavier today, or I lifted more than last time.
That means they increased the weight, which is a sign of progress.
And if something feels too difficult, they might say, that was too heavy, or I couldn't finish that set.
Now let's talk about something very common in gym conversations, comparing workouts.
Yes, people might say, today was better than yesterday, or I felt stronger this week.
Or the opposite, today felt harder, or I didn't have a good workout today.
And that's normal. Not every workout feels great. Some days are just slower, and that's okay.
Now let's talk about gym partners, because working out with someone changes the experience.
Definitely. If you go with a friend, you might say, we worked out together, or we trained together.
And people often motivate each other. You might hear, let's do one more set, or you got this.
That kind of support makes a big difference. It keeps you going when you feel tired.
Now let's talk about breaks during workouts. People often say, I need a break, or I'm taking a quick rest.
And that's completely normal. Nobody works out nonstop.
Another thing people mention is time. You might hear, I'm doing a quick workout today, or I don't have much time.
Or the opposite. I took my time today, which means you didn't rush and did everything slowly.
Now let's talk about finishing a workout. People often say, I'm done, or I finished my workout.
And sometimes they add how they feel. I'm done and I'm exhausted. Or I feel great after that.
That's the best feeling, when you finish and you feel like it was worth it.
Before we move to the next part, let's quickly connect everything. Inside the gym, conversations are short, simple, and very natural. People talk about what they trained, how they feel, and how the workout went.
Exactly. You don't need complicated sentences, just clear, simple phrases.
In the next part, we're going to talk about progress, struggles, staying consistent, and the mental side of going to the gym.
We'll also talk about real thoughts people have, like feeling stuck, feeling motivated, or trying to stay consistent.
That's where things get even more relatable and honest.
All right, we've talked about starting, skipping, feeling sore, and what happens inside the gym. Now let's talk about something deeper and more real: progress, struggles, and mindset. Because going to the gym is not just physical, it's also mental.
Yes, this is the part people don't always talk about, but it's probably the most important. Staying consistent is hard, not because the exercises are impossible, but because life gets busy, energy changes, and motivation goes up and down.
Exactly. People often say, I'm trying to stay consistent, and that sentence shows effort. It means you're not perfect, but you're still trying.
And consistency doesn't mean going every single day. It just means you keep coming back, even after you skip, even after you take a break.
That's such an important point. A lot of people think if they miss a few days, they've failed. But in reality, it's normal. You can always go back.
Yes, and that's why people say, I'm getting back into it when they return after a break.
Now let's talk about progress. People often say, I'm seeing progress, or I feel stronger than before.
Progress doesn't always mean big changes. Sometimes it's small things, like lifting a little more weight, finishing a workout more easily, or just feeling better.
Exactly. And people also say, it's slow, but it's working, which is a very honest way to describe progress.
On the other hand, there are days when people feel stuck. They might say, I feel stuck, or I'm not improving.
That can be frustrating, but it's part of the process. Not every week shows visible progress.
Yes, and that's where mindset becomes important. Instead of quitting, people remind themselves, I just need to keep going.
Another common feeling is lack of motivation. People say, I'm not motivated today, or I don't feel like working out.
And that's completely normal. Motivation changes every day. Some days you feel excited, and other days you feel tired.
That's why people talk about discipline. You'll hear sentences like, I went anyway, even when they didn't feel like it.
That's a strong mindset. It means you're building a habit, not just following your mood.
Now let's talk about something very relatable: comparing yourself to others.
Yes, this happens a lot in the gym. People might think, they're stronger than me, or they're doing better than me.
But a healthier way to think is, I'm focusing on my own progress.
Exactly. Everyone starts at a different level, and everyone moves at a different pace.
Now let's talk about balance, because gym life is not everything.
Yes, people also say, I'm trying to balance my workouts with my daily life, because work, school, and personal life all matter too.
Sometimes you need rest, sometimes you need a break, and sometimes you just need a lighter day.
And that's okay. Fitness is not about being perfect, it's about staying consistent over time.
Now let's connect everything with a simple example. Imagine someone talking about their week.
They might say, I went to the gym 3 times this week. I skipped one day because I was tired, but I got back into it the next day. I'm still sore, but I feel stronger.
That's a perfect real-life summary. It includes effort, rest, and progress.
And it sounds natural, not perfect, just real.
Now let's do a quick practice moment for everyone listening. Think about your own situation.
You can say something like, I worked out today, or I skipped the gym, or I'm trying to get back into it.
Even one sentence is enough. That's already practice.
Now let's move to our question of the day.
Yes, today's question is simple and personal. Do you go to the gym regularly, or are you trying to start?
You can answer with one sentence. For example, I go 3 times a week, or I'm trying to start again.
For me, I'd say I try to stay consistent, but I'm not perfect. Some weeks are strong and some weeks are slower, but I keep coming back.
For me, I'm still building the habit. I skip sometimes, but I always try to return and do better the next time.
And that's what matters. Not perfection, just progress.
Exactly. Small steps repeated over time.
All right, thank you for spending this time with us and learning real English together.
If you enjoyed this episode, give it a like, subscribe to Speak English Together, and stay with us for more everyday conversations.
Keep practicing, keep improving, and keep going.
We'll see you in the next episode.
Bye for now.